All right. Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to the Crypto Truth, where I give you the truth as I see it. Today, what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about Holofuel. Now, many of you guys know that I talk a lot about HOT, but I don't really talk a lot about Holofuel. So I'm going to talk about Holofuel, and then what I want to do is I want to explain why I think Holofuel, as far as it being used as a possible currency, will do great. But before I get into this, I want to let you guys know that this is going to be a kind of not really a informative video, nothing new about Holochain or the Holo organization, nothing like that. This is specifically about why I believe that Holofuel will be used and will do well. But the first thing I have to do is I have to go into exactly why, right? A lot of times people, especially in the crypto space, they say, well, this is going to be great and this is going to be awesome, but they don't really explain why, and they don't really get into the nuts and bolts. Holochain is a very deep project, right? Holo hosting is a very deep project. Both of these, all of these projects within the Holo organization are very deep projects. So it's not easy to explain, and some of them are theories. And obviously, I'm not a master in technology. I'm not really a huge tech guy, but I really do understand concepts, and fortunately for me, that is something that I know for a fact that I excel in. And fortunately for you guys, you can take whatever I say with a grain of salt. So let's go ahead and get started. When we're talking about Holofuel, we know that Holofuel is going to be micropayments. So gotta backtrack just a little bit for some of you guys who are new to the channel and may not understand everything that I'm talking about. Please refer to, you can refer to holochain.org. There's a lot of information online. You can Google Holochain, Holo organization, and understand exactly what it is, or you can look at my previous videos and where I try to attempt to explain the different distributed ledgers technologies, different things like that. So you can also find that on Blockchains 101 if you want to really find out exactly about different distributed ledger technologies. Okay, let's get into Holofuel. So why Holofuel will work? Well, the first thing is we have to really look at how Holofuel will be used, right? So Holofuel will be used for Holo hosting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this, and this is going to be a little deep. So hold on to your hats. In the beginning, you may not think that it has anything to do with cryptocurrency as a whole, but I promise you, my friend, it really does. So basically, in the beginning, and I'm only going to say in the beginning, we'll talk about the future, right? When Holofuel is really out there, I'm going to really talk about that. But for right now, let's talk about what in the beginning. So in the beginning, God created the heavens and earth. No, I'm kidding. In the beginning, with Holofuel, we're going to have Holo hosting. So this person is going to say, hey, I want my website. He's gonna make a little bubble here. He's going to tell this person, I want my website to be hosted. He's going to provide, this guy is a provider for Holo hosting. And he's like, hey, sure, I'll do it. I think that's supposed to be, let's say he's surprised and everything. And so this guy here says, you know what? I need my website. So he is going to request that this guy host his website. Well, in order to do that, to get his website, let's just put website here, web, to get his website hosted, right? He's going to give him Holofuel as he does it. Now, these are micropayments, right? So however much Holo hosting, we'll make a meter right here. Holo hosting, let's say he does it for 7 weeks. He's going to give him a certain amount of Holofuel. Say, hey, thank you, and please continue going. So he says, all right, for another 7 weeks, 7 days. 7 days, and then another 7 days, and then another 7 days. And each 7 days, he gives this guy Holofuel because he's providing hosting for his website. Now, that is a continuous micropayment. That's in the beginning. That's the nutshell. Just the nutshell. Now, I'm not even going to get into all the deep stuff about the swap. I'm not talking about any of that stuff. I'm just talking about how it will operate. Now, why is this important? Remember, Holofuel are micropayments. And by the way, micropayments are going to be the future. I can get into that a little bit later. But before I get complicated and make this whole entire thing more complicated than what it is, this is a very simple transaction, right? So I give this guy or this person, why doesn't he have a face? Let me give him a face. Let's say, hey, I don't know, a worried face. I don't know, straight face. But anyway, let's say he gives this guy Holofuel, and he says, why, thank you very much. I received Holofuel, and I'll continue to host your website for this amount. Now, that's a micro payments, micro transaction, where it's a continuous thing. Now, how does this? We're gonna flip outside of cryptocurrency right now, and we're gonna get into real life, right? So I just had I'm having a garage sale on Saturday. I'm getting rid of a bunch of stuff, and I got some items in which I value. Well, I bought. Let me give you a great example. I don't know. Let's say a basketball. This is a basketball. I'm just making this up. I've had since childhood, right? So there's a value there. Well, when I sell it, I'm selling it for $50. Well, a lot of people aren't going to go to a yard sale and spend $50 on a basketball. You might as well just go to a regular store for that. But my value the value that I have for my basketball is it's more to me, right? And so it's the person is only going to buy it if it's equal, if they feel in their eyes that is equal. In this instance, we're going to switch back over. If this guy says, hey, you know what? I'm going to give you 30,000 Holofuel every 7 days. And this guy says, you know what? I like that. Now, let's add this extra person in here. Let's give him a sad face. Let's add this extra person in here. And he says, well, that's not fair. You offered him 30,000 Holofuel for every 7 days. Well, I tell you what, I'll take 20,000 Holofuel for every 7 days. And so this individual is like, well, this guy is here is like, well, wow, that's a heck of a deal. But wait a second though. This person has built a rapport with this person. The value, while it is cheaper to go with this guy, he's going to stick with this guy because he's like, you know what? Everything's working fine. This guy's Holoport is awesome. I want to keep it the same. Everything's going to be great. So this guy is like, hey. So this guy's like, wait, man, this is not even fair. So, but then somebody else comes along. And by the way, all of these people are going to be used for a reason. I'm going to I really can't draw. I am like one of the worst. Terrible. Like this guy looks like he's cross-eyed. I'm sorry. Everybody's gonna be bald-headed because I'm bald-headed. Okay. But anyway, so we have another guy here. He says, "Hey, you're offering 25,000 for 7 days. That's your bottom line. You know what? I'm good with that. Let me go ahead. You can host my website, and it'd be 25,000. So this guy website, this guy is giving 25,000 for his Holofuel. This guy is giving 30,000, and everybody's happy. Well, they might not look happy, but everybody's happy. Okay, so what I want to do is we're going to break this off and go into the real world, because all of this applies to real world transactions of how we're doing things. Let's talk about how things operate now, right? So we have I'm just going to put government. I really don't like turning my head so much, but we're going to put government and we're going to put citizen. So this is a service, goods and services, right? And the goods and services of this is from peer to peer. So this guy says, "Hey, I need you to do this." This guy says, "Okay, I'll do it." That's what Holo hosting. Now, we kind of sort of have that, but the problem is with regular hosting. We're going to get into that later. Actually, I was going to get into that just now, but I need to keep this very, very simple because I'm going to break it down. So in the United States, and I think the U.S. is a perfect example for how this goes, and I'm going to explain. So I'm going to draw a really crappy version of the United States. It's going to be a crappy version. I know it's a crappy version. Please do not pick on me. We'll put Alaska over here, and we'll put Hawaii right here. So we all know, and by the way, I'm in the state of Florida. But let me go ahead and make these zigzag lines here. Okay. We'll just say that this is the United States, okay? In the United States, goods and services are not equal. And so let's say you want to get, if you're a woman or male, because I like getting my hands and nails done. Let's say you want to go and get a pedicure, manicure. Well, it'll give you about $30. $30 for a regular pedicure, manicure. And then, but over in California, which looks like a square, over in California, it's $60 for a regular pedicure, manicure. But over here in the Midwest, it's $15 for a pedicure, manicure. And you might say, well, that's not right. It's the same energy. And to some degree, you will be right. The way we have goods and services over here in the United States is all over the place. So the value of everyone's currency is not really the same, because $30 will get you so much here, $60 will get you so much here, $15 will get you so much here, and it's not quite equal. And so everyone is arguing about, we're not making enough, or they're making too much in businesses, and we got all of these things, and it's really confusing. Now, this is a choice, right? A pedicure, manicure is a choice. But where's the world going? The world is, Holo hosting, not Holo hosting, hosting in general. We just heard I just heard some news about, what was it, Google, some video game company, whatever. They're having their own hosting. Binance is trying to have their own hosting type thing for their stuff as well. So I'm telling you guys, like, obviously Holochain is well ahead, but at the same time, everyone's trying to get some skin in the game when it comes to hosting. Well, with electrical, and we're going to switch this over here in America, with electric, right? You don't get a choice. You have to have electricity. So your $60, now let's say, $60 per month. I know that's a low electric bill, but let's say $60 per month for your electric bill in California, $30 per month for your electric bill in Florida, and $15 per month for your electric bill somewhere in the Midwest. Well, if you have that, how is that equal? Because the last time I checked, especially when it comes to hosting, well, things are all the way across all over the world. So you could be in Florida or California or wherever, and we'll just say over here in Alaska, Amazon is not in Alaska, by the way. I should say their main place. But let's say that all their computers, all their hosting, everything is here in Alaska, AK. Okay? Well, so everything is over here in Alaska, but how is all of that energy the same? And that's the problem that we're running to over here in America, is that everything that you do is not necessarily the same. So let's say, and whatever it is, whatever energy, so the energy provided, the energy that you have is not the same, and it's not equal across the board. So while you have people over here in California making so much, they're able to pay a certain amount for hosting, and over here in Florida and over here. So all of it's different. All of it's all over the place. Now let's just magnify all of this to all over the world, right? We'll go with the I don't even want to try the rest of the world. I'm gonna make a circle right here and a few curves right here. Maybe something right there. Maybe a little something right there. So we'll just say this is the Earth. It is an ugly Earth. But let's just say this is the Earth. So we got all of these things, and remember, when it comes to energy, a lot of times we really don't have a choice. We have maybe one or two or three or four different options. I think we have like 4 or 5 different options. The major ones, obviously, Google, Amazon, Facebook, I believe, have their own stuff. So my point is that you have all this, and we're paying these people for hosting, and they're the ones who set the prices. Well, if we're the ones to set the prices, like a yard sale, right? So if we're the ones who says, hey, you know what? For electric, I need my house to be run by your company, but will you take I'm gonna give you 30,000. Like 30,000 what? Well, let's just say 30,000 Holofuel. Okay. Well, now this person from this part of the world, this person from this part of the world, everyone from all over the world is saying, oh, well, this person is paying 30,000. We're just going to make 30,000. And what's happening here is that the peer-to-peer options and how transactions are made through just one person. It's just a 2-person agreement. And that's wonderful. That's an awesome thing. So literally, and by the way, Holo hosting is a type of energy. I'm not going to get into that because that's a whole other thing. But hosting is a type of energy. It's a type of good and service. Excuse me, service. Let's just stick with service. So now we have it to where it's no longer confusing. It's all set under one umbrella, and people are saying, hey, this is what I'm willing to pay. And they know, hey, well, this guy over here, oh, wow, that guy does is using his energy to host to host my website, and he charges $30,000 for 30,000 Holofuel for every 7 days. Well, that's cool. I can deal with that. Let's go. There's no problem because 2 people have agreed upon it. It's the same thing at a yard sale or a garage sale. I don't know. It's the same thing, right? Because of the fact that, hey, you know what? I have something that I think is of value, and this certain amount of value, you can take it or leave it. And someone can say, hey, you know what? I have an opportunity. The reason why this is such a big thing, and let's skip to the future, is such a big, gigantic thing. Whoever wins this whole currency battle, like the ultimate currency battle, is going to be awesome. Why? Because, well, the government's not going to be like, well, you know what, over here. Oh, and let me just break it down and explain to you guys why this is an unfair system, right? And I've seen this a million times. I'm going to explain why. Now, I know that Holochain, the Holo organization has said something about maximizing how much Holofuel somebody can have, or computers and stuff like that. I'm not going to get into that. I don't know how they're going to do it. I guess we'll find out more information as time moves forward. But let me explain to you why this is unfair. Because let's say this person over here in California, he's making a certain amount. Why? Because everything is expensive. This person spends 20 years here in California. This person spends 20 years here. And this person spends 20 years. And I'm going to tell you exactly what is happening within our society today, without getting into the governments and stuff like that. I'm going to tell you, as far as from a capitalist standpoint, where this is going. Pure capitalist standpoint, by the way, of where this is going. So the person over here in California is making more. Spend 20 years, retires, and goes to Florida. Now, this person who has spent 20 years in Florida, let's say 18, 38 years old. From 18 to 38, worked at the same job. No, it doesn't happen anymore, but let's just say 18 to 38, this person, let's say they jumped into the military, they retired. And the military is a bad example. But anyway, they retire, and they make all of this money now. Well, they're like, you know what? Well, I could stay here in California, but you know what? I think I'm going to go to Florida. Why am I going to go to Florida? Well, excuse me. I feel like my dollar will stretch further in Florida. And so they say, well, you know what? I'm going to go to Florida. I'm going to fly over to Florida, and I'm going to buy me a house. Let's say the average house over in California, let's say it's around $400,000. The average house in Florida, in California, the average house in Florida, let's say it's $200,000. Well, a lot of people, and you guys can look this up, from New York and California, they're moving down here. And by the way, I'm going to switch over to cryptocurrency and how all of this relates. And I'll explain to why other cryptocurrency projects won't work. And I'm going to explain why. But anyway, they moved over here to Florida. The people over here who spent 20 years, they're like, well, you know what? Man, I would love to buy that house. But some people from California just outright paid out cash. Well, I ain't got that kind of money. So they're like, well, where can I go? Well, you know what? I heard over in the Midwest, I feel like my dollars can stretch further over here in the Midwest. Now, I don't know whether government leaders are dummies. I don't know why no one's talked about this, especially here in the United States of America. I think they have. I don't think they thought about how to create solutions. I have I shouldn't say a trillion, but I have a few solutions to what's been happening here without going into, I'm not going to go to any detail, because obviously it'll be a long story of what the solution can be. But we have these rules and regulations and, laws and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, but what's happening is this is happening all across the United States of America. And so all of these people over here in Florida can no longer afford houses because everybody else in California are jumping ship and said it's too expensive to live here. So we're going to buy up all the property and buy other places. And a lot of people, this person just spent 20 years of their life, 20 years of their energy to save up to purchase a house, to live comfortably, and they can't because somebody from California or New York or any of these other places where they make more money, they're taking that money because the value of the dollar is the same, but the energy provided to get that energy is not the same. Okay? So that makes it more complicated, and it makes it unfair. It becomes an unfair system. Because why? Well, people need to purchase homes. People would love to retire or to, you know, once they become settled and maybe they get a wife and want to purchase a home in their first time home buyers program or different things like that. But they can't because everybody's buying up all the houses over here and the same thing over here. The problem is that people over here, the homelessness, that's why, you know, you look at California, the prices have gone up so high that people are now leaving, and they can't afford to live there, and homelessness is crazy in New York and in California. It's crazy, and I talked about this. I think I tweeted this under someone. I think it was Mary Camacho's, tweet. But I basically stated, in a nutshell, that over 200 years, there's not one single developed country that has provided a solution to take care of its citizens. Not one developed country. And that's crazy. The majority of its citizens. Like everyone is trying to figure out how to live, how to survive, and the middle class is just being completely, totally taken over. Yes, a lot of that is greed, but a lot of that is the system set in place. And I have no idea why no one's thinking about this, right? This is just not fair. But what happens when someone wants to purchase a home and the value is equal from here to here to here, and now all of that energy that person provided for those 20 years, they will be rewarded because they will be able to receive the fruits of their labor, right? They'll finally be able to purchase a home, finally be able to retire, live comfortably, and so on and so forth. But now you have to move. So the value of the energy provided is not equal, and that's a huge problem. And that's what's happening all over the world. Case in point, doctors get paid depending on where they are, right? The knowledge is there. The education is there. But if you're a doctor in, I don't know, the Philippines, you get paid a certain amount. But if you're a doctor in the United States, you're going to get paid maybe more. Well, how is that fair? The energy, the things that I've learned is the exact same thing. The lives that I saved are the exact same thing. Why isn't it equal? And it's not equal because we don't have a system that says, hey, you know what? We'll make it equal. And it starts. This is why this is only the beginning of the possibilities of what they're calling it a mutual credit system. I don't know exactly how that's going to work. I don't know if it will work. There's a lot of questions that we have. I have my own assumptions about things, and I also have my own theories about things. But you can clearly see here that if you are a person who wants to provide a good or service, and someone's able to provide you with something, it's an equal exchange. If someone wanted to purchase a home and say, hey, you know what, my home value is the same as this home value, it's the same as this home value, or it's damn near equal, well, there's no problem. Because it's close enough and it starts stabilizing, right? And it's close enough to what? Oh, well, now everybody has a choice. Now everybody has an opportunity to do the exact same thing. If you look at a lot of proof of, especially Bitcoin, I've made an entire hour-long video about why I believe that Bitcoin is a pyramid scheme. I don't think it's evil, and I don't think it's bad. I don't think any of that kind of stuff. But it is a pyramid scheme. I don't know. I don't know how else to tell you. Now, is it that it doesn't work? No, I believe in a nutshell that it is a perfect proof of work. It should be a value, a store of value. Is the perfect store of value, not proof of work, but it's perfect store of value. In my own personal opinion, that's from here until eons of time. It's perfect for store of value, not currency. Okay. But when we see here, what happens when the playing field is level? Well, now you get more opportunities when the playing field is level. So when you have Holo, let's say you have Holofuel, and someone's like, oh, well, can I give you 30 Holofuel? Like, yeah, no problem. I give you 30 Holofuel, no problem. Oh, hey, you know what? I got the same thing. I'm going to give you 30 Holofuel, but you know what? I'm going to give you a basketball. Or I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. It gives you that flexibility to be somewhere close, but at the same time, sort of kind of like, hey, you know what? I have something I'm going to give you. It comes from me. It goes to you. That's that. End of story. It's great. There's no intermediaries. There's no banks with these houses. And I think the value of this house is this, and this value of this house is this. It's whatever the person wants to either sell it for or provide service for. Now, if we can do this across, this is why I believe that the value will be very, very stable for Holofuel, because this is a worldwide project. This isn't some backyard project. This isn't some project like, you know what? Oh, let's check this out, guys. No, this is a worldwide project. So when you have a worldwide project, there's a lot of transactions is going to happen, which is the purpose of having microtransactions. I'm not going to get into all of the other things as far as safety, as far as all the other the nuances of how Holofuel works. It's a little bit complicated, and all of the answers are not there yet. So, but the point is that now value is seemingly equal, and the energy that people, and I always say this, the energy that you have matters in your life. I look at the older generation, and I see the older generation, they're like, back in my day, we used to work hard, and we worked hard for what we had, and X, Y, and Z, and this is the way it should be. But things aren't equal. You see, back in the day, you can work as a dishwasher or work in the restaurant business, or you can be you can work in any kind of retail or anything really, and you can survive and take care of your family. The items, the energy that you've provided give you the items that you need. The exchange, because obviously the promissory note of fiat currency, the exchange says that, okay, you have done this, so I'm going to give you this promissory note of X, Y, and Z fiat currency, and now you can go out and survive. Well, now that's just not the case, because it's not equal anymore, and the disparity is greater now than it ever was before. So how do you adjust? Well, as time has moved forward, the younger generation is saying, well, I see the older generation and they work their rear ends off and they hardly got nothing. They got Social Security. Man, I mean, good luck to you. And now they're looking at, they're like, no, I don't think I want to do that. I don't think I want to dedicate. So now they're looking at their life and they're saying, okay, do I want to work do I want to work 20 years in an organization that may or may not care about me? I have to take that risk to deal with all of the other stuff and work-life balance and stuff like that. Or I can make TikTok videos. Well, the choice is simple. If I had the opportunity, I'm making TikTok videos. I grew up in this time period. Now I'm older. I'm a part of the older generation. I do believe in hard work. I believe in hard work so much that I wish that the energy that I gave out would benefit me, like the fruits of my labor. I can see the fruits of my labor and say, okay, but that's because I work really hard. But now we live in a society, and this is all the way across the world, where you can work hard and you're not going anywhere. So what's the point? You want me to contribute to your society, and the society isn't going anywhere. That don't make any sense. So I understand where young kids are getting at. However, at the same time, the energy is not the same. Because now, and this is just my own personal opinion, I see it with younger kids. I see it in my kids. The energy put forth to do certain things, they don't want to put the energy forth or to work hard to get where they need to go. And then we won't even talk about the social issues and philosophical issues and how complicated society has already made it, the pressures on these children, these kids. But they are understanding, well, they're starting to think about it and break it down, right? A lot of people do this when they and I used to be a car salesman a long time ago, but this is a long time ago. I'm pretty sure they don't do this now. But when you're when you're $6 off, $7 off, it was like, hey, you know what? I want to be under $300 for my car payment. Yeah, it was $308. The bank said, you got to be here. Your interest rate got to be here. Hey, come on now, what's $8? I mean, do you get a cup of coffee every day? I mean, can you sacrifice one cup of coffee for half a month? Can you do that? I mean, come on, we're already there. Now, obviously, when you break things down and you're trying to sell things, you're trying to break it down so the person can see the entire picture. So they say, oh, well, I can't afford that. Well, you kind of can. And you're just kind of baiting them to help them understand that they can't afford it. Well, the younger generation, and my generation and younger, I'm going to say my generation. I'm not going to tell you what my generation is. You probably can guess anyway. But we're looking at it like, so I live for approximately 80 years healthily. We are living longer. But I'm supposed to spend 20 years working and putting money into this 401k thing, which may or may not work out depending on what, this government says, or because it's all a risk. It may or may not work. You don't get anything from bonds and different things like that. Like, oh man, like if I'm going to retire now, I'm going to need approximately $3 million. I mean, just to retire comfortably. And that's what we're looking at. My generation and younger, we're going to need at least a couple $1 million to be able to retire. That's just to be able to retire. Just throwing it out there. And obviously, that's not going to happen with the majority of the people. So the younger kids are like, I'm not fit to do all of that and not like that and still be unhappy in life. You know what? I'm gonna do what I want to be. I want to be an artist. I want to do interpretive dance. I want to be a mathematician. I want to be a scientist that want to discover, whatever it is. They're getting into things that they feel like they want to do, not because they want to survive, but because they feel like they can do that for the rest of their life. That's what's most important, is understanding the value of your energy in your life. And if you don't understand that, this is a prime example of what's happening. By the way, we have a lot of people recent times over here in America. They are moving to over in some of the countries in Africa. Why? Because the cost of living there is low. So they're taking their money and they're going across seas. And there's a lot of people, especially upper class. They're taking their money and they're moving across seas and they're saying, hey, you know what? I can live a better life somewhere else. Because the energy that I've given up, I'm not fit to just go ahead and throw it all away, and live at a, I don't know, retirement center where there's nothing happening. I can't barely live. I can't breathe. I can't have the freedom. So they're like, hey, you know what? I'm out. So younger kids, my generation and younger, and older generation. I'm not trying to say the older generation don't understand all of this. I just hear it a lot with the younger generation. And there's a lot of people, especially with the older generation, the first thing that they'll say is, you know what? You are doing the right thing. When I was young, I wish I knew about this. See, the information that we have, that these younger kids have now, is so much greater and better than the information that we had as a kid. When we were kids, we were like, hey, Mom, I got a question. No, put your hand down. Shut up. We grown-ups are talking. Well, why is the sky blue? Go read it in the encyclopedia. I had to truck over there. My parents, I believe, got an Encyclopedia Britannica from a yard sale or something like that. And I remember going through the encyclopedia, and I just used to flip through the encyclopedia just to read stuff and just to know weird stuff and everything else in between. It was pretty cool for me in a way. Or I would go to the library and I would get some books to read. But that was it. There was no, hey, why is the sky blue? Well, now you can just go, why is the sky blue? And then you hear this guy with this nice voice in the background. Back in time, in the 1600s, such and such, invented the violin, understood that all of this stuff just goes, it goes deep. And now they have an opportunity to learn anything that they want. The sky is literally the limit for these young kids. And that's something that they have to understand. If they can combine their knowledge with the opportunity that they have and use tech the way to their advantage, to help them, to propel them to have better wisdom and to do certain things, it'd be awesome. But let's get back over here. Now let's flip back to cryptocurrency, because I know many of you guys are like, man, Chris, you went on this whole spill. What does this got to do with cryptocurrency? It has everything to do with cryptocurrency, my friend. We all know that back in 2008, I was just going to say Satoshi. Satoshi Nakamoto created this thing called Bitcoin and it runs on a blockchain, right? And we all know the story of what has happened. But I'm going to tell you guys why it's not working out the way they want it to work out. At least I don't believe that Bitcoin is working out the way the people that for freedom and for currency, the way they wanted to work out. Is because, again, like I stated before, everybody who has Bitcoin right now is up here. Everybody, as time moves forward, greater and greater people have Bitcoin, but they have less amounts. And so these people up here, they have more Bitcoin, aka they have more power. That is what it is. So we have BlackRock purchasing everything. We have a lot of things happening right now in which there's a lot going on. In which all of these people who have thousands of Bitcoin, they're going to be rich for the rest of their life. Some of them have held it for a long time. Some of them still hold it. They're going to be rich for the rest of their life. The problem is that the power is now centralized. And so only the top people are going to benefit, where these people, they may eventually benefit, but as time moves forward, the pyramid gets like this, and the pyramid gets like this. And what happens is the disparity between these two people, especially if you're just going to use Bitcoin, the disparity between these individuals are going to be great, because there are going to be some people who have a lot of Bitcoin, some people who have a few Bitcoin, and then there's going to be a whole lot of people who bought into the whatever system that they're in and try to, I'm going to buy CBDCs. I'm going to buy this X, Y, and Z cryptocurrency project because it's going to make me $1 billion. They never get into any solid project. And then what happens is they end up, well, I ain't got nothing now. And so, but the people who are educated, the people who believed in Bitcoin and other blockchain projects, and I'm not even talking about Holochain, but other blockchain projects are going to benefit. And it just it continues to spiral out of control. So what we're just gonna end up in the same situation as in the U.S. And this is like supposedly the top country in the world. Country number 1, country number 2, country number 3, you name it. Top 5 countries. I don't care. It's the same system. Why? Because the power, they're like, oh, well, anybody can have Bitcoin. Anybody can do this. Yeah, but you know what? When you have something and the value, and you're the only one who have more, the person over here in California has 50 Bitcoin. This person over here got 20 Bitcoin. Well, it's the same situation. Because this person have more, earn more, because supposedly their energy is different. That's why we have all of these mining rigs and all of this stuff for proof of work, Bitcoin. And honestly, you guys see where it's going to go? That's why I say it'll be the top proof of, the best proof of work, store of value currency. It will never ever work as a regular currency, but because who in their right mind today, and this is something I still don't get. Who in their right mind today is like, oh yeah, Bitcoin, yeah, that's the future. You know what? I'm gonna sell it. I got 2,000-3,000 Bitcoin. Nah, just sell it. Apparently, it's happening, or they're just moving it from place to place. I don't know. I don't know. I don't understand. Obviously, for some of you guys, you know my story. You know why I don't have Bitcoin. But the point is that as far as a store of value, this is awesome. But again, like I stated before, it's a pyramid scheme. The same over here, it's a pyramid scheme. It's the same stuff. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and they're kicked out. What happens when it doesn't matter how rich this guy is, and it doesn't matter how rich or how poor this guy is? All value is equal, and they say, hey, you know what? Let me exchange this for this, and they're satisfied with it, and they can live their life how they want. Obviously, I'm kind of stretching it a little bit, but what I see Holofuel is as, and possibly, because I don't know exactly how it's going to work, but I see it possibly as one of the best currencies in the future. I don't know. And by the way, this is for a specific sector, right? So there's going to always, and I know some of you guys are like, especially Bitcoin maximalists, Bitcoin is going to be everything. It's going to be all things, and it's gonna help free the world. No, it's not gonna do any of that stuff. Okay, but and I want you guys to listen closely. The only thing that's gonna make this world a better place is when we're able to see, not just from a physical point of view, but theological point of view, philosophical point of view, all of these ways that we differ, until we're able to take information and exchange it with each other at a fair value to help each other out, it will ultimately raise, right, the value of the human race. But for right now, we have it to where we think our information is weighted, or our values, or our ethics, our morals, the way we live life, all the way across the world is not equal. And we're having this blockage to where we can't communicate. But what happens when we're able to use technology to be able to communicate and the values are equal. The communities are equal. The society is equal. Well, I don't want to participate in that community. That's perfectly fine. So, cool. I'll join this community. It's in the same ecosystem, but you know what? They like turtles. Those guys don't like turtles. And they're perfectly cool with me not liking turtles because I'm over here with the turtle guys. But we can still exchange information. So if I want to learn about birds and they want to learn about turtles, we can just exchange information. And you know what? It'll make both of our communities even better. People, you have to look at the big picture. And this is the big picture that I'm seeing with Holochain as the technology, and then the Holo organization and what they're trying to do with Holoports and Holo hosting and Holofuel. All of these things play a part. All of these things give people an opportunity to do something better, to do something grand. And until you realize, and I've been saying this before and I'm going to say it again, until you realize that all of these little social issues and these small things, it's grand to you. It's dramatic to you. But in the grand scheme of things, you have to look at the human race at some point and say, how can we advance? I don't identify as nothing. And what I mean by that is I tell people, hey, my name is Chris. You can call me whatever you want. Well, you black. Okay. Well, you white. Okay. Well, you purple. Okay. Whatever. Hey, look here. I know what I am. My issue, not my issue, but how I live my life is I don't identify as anything as Republican or conservative or liberal. You got all these people. They have all of these boxes that they want to put you in. Well, you are X, Y, and Z. And sometimes, you know, in order to shorten the conversation, you know what? I'm closer to this category. I'm closer to that category. But we as human beings, we're not that simple. And that's why people are confused. Because they're trying to make everything so simple. So complicated. Man, I really reversed my my thought process here. We are complicated human beings, but we want simple things. And we've complicated almost everything that deals with life. Understand that our energy that we give off, we all want to eat, sleep, laugh, have fun, enjoy life, do activities. And those are positive things that we can get together. When we're looking at cryptocurrency projects, you have to understand, and this is the reason why I like Holochain. I'm an extremely philosophical person. I've told you guys this before. I'm going to tell you now. I'm an extremely philosophical person. That's one of the reasons why I like the Holo organization. And that was after the fact that I found out about Holochain and the DLT and all that kind of stuff. But I love going deep. I love having deep conversations because I think it's very important. And that's why some of you guys are like, oh man, you went over 5 minutes. I can't do it. I'm done. I can't. And then there are some people who are like, you know what? Oh, well, you know what? That's a good point. You know, they could be playing their, game. That's what I do. I watch YouTube videos and play on my PlayStation and do certain things. And I'm doing all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, oh, you know what? That person has a good point. Every single YouTuber, major YouTuber, I've probably listened to them in one way, especially if they're dealing with cryptocurrency, one way or another. And I'd be like, you know what? I disagree with everything this person says, but you know what? That part, they actually made a good point. You have to take the good points. You have to take the things that make you, that challenges your way of thinking so that you can enhance your own personal way of thinking. So you can advance and become stronger as a human, as a person. So anyway, I just wanted to go over all of this with you guys. Hope this wasn't too complicated. Sorry for my drawings because I'm really terrible at making these things. But we have it to where, and this is just closing. I am going to close with this. We have it to where we are living in a society in which our governments are telling us, hey, we got to go through this third party. Information is going certain ways, and there's only this third party, and this third party that we can go through. But what happens when, you know what, the government says, all right, here's the deal. You guys can play, but I want you to play in your own sandbox. And now every citizen, everybody has an ability to information across the world. They're able to communicate, and then I think that's what's most important. So I'm going to go ahead and close it with that. I want to thank you guys. As always, thank you guys for watching this video. As I always say, do your own research. Do your own research. Do your own research. And last but not least, above all else, you guys, the world is getting kind of crazy. I'm going to kind of have a video about well, that's for a different channel. Excuse me. Do your own research. Do your own research. Do your own research. And last but not least, above all else, stay safe out there. Bye, you guys.